the most time with, but you're the average of everything in your environment. Your environment shapes you. This is biology 101. Unfortunately, science has had a long history of first having social mores and social standards and social ideas, even religious ideas, affect it, so that even Darwin's theory of natural selection, which is perhaps one of the greatest scientific theories / discoveries ever, right next to Einstein's E=mc², even that, he tried to be very careful to not step on any religious toes. And obviously he was attacked quite a bit. Even to this day, some people try to deny like the origin of species. And so we see a lot of this today still, and we'll see this throughout history. But what I'm getting at, my point is that we tend to think of ourselves as different or unique as not animals. You study fish, you study frogs, whales, sharks, insects, whatever. And you study them in their environment. And you try to understand how they interact with that environment. How does that interact? How does that environment shape what they eat, what they do, how they mate, how they survive, etc. Yet humans, right, there's some anthropology, and there's, some people that are aware of this. They've tried to study hunter-gatherers to get a glimpse into how we're supposed to live. But a lot of what you see in science is just like pretending humans are different, even though we're not, other than having a consciousness. We are still animals that are trying to do the best we can in this environment. And some of us are winning, you could say, from an evolutionary perspective, because we're healthy and we're raising healthy offspring and we're procreating, etc. And some of us are losing because we are overweight, sick, probably going to die an early death, don't have as many great procreation opportunities, and might even be giving birth to weaker, or I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but like less adaptive offspring, meaning they're going to come into this environment and not be able to cope because you're passing down on those obesity genes or diabetes genes or, alcohol, drugs, whatever. Obviously, that's a long myriad, deep rabbit hole to go down to. But again, when it comes to science and nature, there's no morality. Morality is a human invention. We think things should be safe and comfortable, and we should not hurt anybody's feelings. And what that means is we should lie to people. We should lie to ourselves. And I think that's a great disservice to our species, to my kids, to the next generation, and more importantly, to ourselves. If you're going to live a life of lies, you will suffer and you will regret it. You may not even realize that all the lies you told yourself are the reason why you have all these shit results or why you're in an early grave, but they all trace back to it. The idea here is this simple quote: you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And that is attributed to, I think Brian Tracy said something like that back in the day. But there's a ton of quotes like this. There's tons of them. And they are so utterly true. Now, what you do is, if you truly want to live a certain way, like if you want a certain level of success and you want to accomplish certain things in your life, or maybe you just don't want to be in the dumps and depressed and in a negative frame your whole life. Maybe some people around you live that way their entire lives. You might call them negative Nancy's, or they're always complaining. They're just negative people. And over time, you become conditioned to that. They affect you, and then you don't even realize it because it's just the water you swim in. You just swim in negativity, and it's just who you are. And then you wake up one day and you're like, why am I just so miserable all the time? Or why is everything so negative around me? That's how these things work. Maybe that negative person is a family member or a parent. Really, really, really hard to break that influence. Really is. But it might require some change. It might require you don't spend a whole lot of time with them, or you don't get into certain conversations about politics or religion or this or that with them. You have to kind of learn where the safe spaces are. And I hate that word, like safe spaces, but safe for you because you don't want that in your life spaces. If you want this success in your life, any success, you have to look at the environment around you. Is it conducive to that success? Meaning, Is a person that has that success able to live in this environment? Or is this environment going to be where a person that has that success lives? And if the answer is no, then you have a mathematical certainty on your hands. Because if you don't change that environment to be conducive to be the environment that that person that has that success lives in, then you will never get there. Just like 1 + 2 will never equal 5. Never. Mathematical certainty. If this, then that, with cold, brutal logic applied. And this is a hard pill to swallow for most people, because changing your environment is really freaking hard. Moving out of the town you grew up of, hard. Going to a place where you don't know anybody, hard. Telling friends and loved ones that you literally can't spend as much time with them or at all, hard. Breaking free from a toxic relationship, hard. Toxic friendships, hard. Toxic friend group, hard. And maybe they're not even straight up toxic, but they just want to party every weekend and you're ready to kind of build a family and get on with your life, hard. And these things generally play out over years, and people make changes over years. And, we generally swerve to places that we kind of want to be. But the main point here is that most people go at it too slow. Way too slow, way too accommodating. And this is harder when you're younger. Trust me, it's way hard. It's way hard when you're young. The more you gain experience, you grow, you adapt, you learn, the easier it gets. I'm to the point now in my life where I'll fire customers that are negative or toxic. I won't do business with anybody I don't have to. I won't associate with anybody I don't have to. And, my circle is kind of small for that because I actively choose to spend it in a certain way with certain people, mostly the family. But that took years to get there. If you want a glimpse into your future, all you got to do is look at what's around you and who's around you. And if you want to make changes, find people to be around. Try meetups, go to seminars, go to events, volunteer. Just go places where interesting, cool, successful people are doing things, and go be super interested and learn and offer to help in whatever way you can. That's it. Most people won't do that though. They think success is going to just show up one day, or that one day they're going to finally be enough. They're going to finally have a certain amount of knowledge or credentials or whatever, and they're going to be enough to get that success. And that's an utter freaking illusion. So let's reiterate these points. Let's review these real quick. If you're not in an environment that's conducive to get where you want to go, you will never get where you want to go without changing that environment. Okay, this is irrefutable logic. It's just math. 1 + 1 = X, or 1 + X = X, or something like that, right? I mean, it's really 1 + 1 = 2. That's really what it is. If 2 is your destination of success, and 1 is the environment that you need to be in, and then 1 is time, I guess, that equals 2, that would be success. It's not a perfect mathematical analogy, but it's kind of there, right? So, in fact, it does work, because let's say 1 is your environment, a good environment, an ideal environment, and then the other one is time, and then if you put those 1 + 1 = 2, 2 is the success. So the environment, if it's a negative environment, would represent a negative number. So maybe it's -1. Maybe it's -5. If you're really, really, really in a bad place around bad people, you're at a -5, so that you're actually going backwards, right? You're more likely you're ruining your life, rather than maybe -1 is you're just kind of staying in the same place. It's -1 + 1, 0, same place. -5, you're with negative numbers. You don't want to be there, okay? Because then it's just going to be a bigger hole to dig out of, and you might end up dead or in jail. So you will not escape this truth. So if there's people around you, if there's a relationship you're in, and if you know that you shouldn't be in it, it's choice, right? Just think about it and remind yourself on a regular basis, this is my choice. If I choose to stay in this thing or have these people around me and they're not conducive to my success and my happiness, I'm choosing to not be successful or happy. This has nothing to do with them. This is not their responsibility or fault. They are who they are. You're not going to change them, so don't try. The only thing you can change and control is yourself. So it always leads back to your choice. You are choosing it. And the second you choose something different, you will then have different results. And so when you choose success, you choose to shape your environment to be conducive to that success. And there is simply nothing else but that equation.